Vocabulary should be the most exciting part of learning a language, not a source of stress or embarrassment. It's the key that unlocks new conversations, new connections, and yes, even the ability to gracefully explain that you are à la retraite. That's why today I am thrilled to share my 5-step solution to help you memorize French words faster and more effectively. This method is a game changer, especially if you're learning French in your 50s, 60s, or 70s. Even if you have convinced yourself that you're too old to learn a new language or that your memory isn't what it used to be, I want to suspend that disbelief for just a few minutes. By the end of this video, I promise that you will have a completely new perspective on learning French vocabulary. You will be armed with practical, easy-to-implement strategies that will transform those tricky French words from frustrating obstacles into delightful discoveries. Are you ready? C'est parti! The magic begins with this first step, active engagement. In short, it means writing down new words as you encounter them. It seems simple because it is. But why is it so important? Well, there is something magical about the physical act of writing. When you put pen to paper, you're not just copying letters. Studies show that your brain makes a special note for this information in a way that typing on your keyboard just can't match. It's like you're carving those words into your memory. But you need consistency, and that can be difficult, especially if you just scribble down the words in a random piece of paper and move on. You can find the motivation to do it once or twice, but you will never keep it as a habit in the long term. You need to set up a system that will keep you going, even when you start getting distracted by something else. So instead, make it a ritual. Choose a special notebook, maybe one with a cover that makes you smile every time you see it. Or better yet, a small pocket-sized binder filled with your own flashcards that you can recognize easily. Use colorful pens if that appeals to you. The goal is to make this process enjoyable, not something that you have to do against your will. Now, of course, I know that some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, Geraldine, I might do that at home maybe, but what if I'm out and about? Am I supposed to take out my notebook when I'm buying eggplants and realize I might want to remember the word aubergine? Should I carry my pens to the grocery store? Well, fear not. First of all, yes, if you can, consider carrying your notebook and a pen in your handbag. It's always a plus, I always do. But if you can't or don't want to, you can also use technology. Simply use Notes app on your phone to quickly jot down new words. You can even use voice notes if you're really on the go. The most important thing is to capture that word somehow in the moment. Then when you're at home, you can take your time for the ritual of writing them down nicely. This way, you will slowly create your own stack of flashcards that you can organize by theme or difficulty or shuffle them at random. It's like carrying a mini French learning program in your pocket. The key is consistency. Make it a habit to engage actively with new words every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Before you know it, you will have a big pile of French vocabulary at your fingertips, ready to use in your next conversation. Now that you're growing a habit of writing down new words, you can explore the angles that suit you personally. A simple long list of words is not really fun or engaging. Instead, you can try to add some context to your words. That's the key for contextual learning. Imagine trying to remember a single puzzle piece without seeing the whole picture. That's what it's like learning words in isolation. Instead, we want to create a vivid, full picture in your mind. So rather than just memorizing pluie for rain, try embracing the full sentence. Il pleut à verse aujourd'hui. It's raining cats and dogs today. Suddenly, you're not just learning a word, you're experiencing a rainy day in France. This approach is giving your brain multiple hooks to hang that new word on. You're not just memorizing, you're creating a mini story, a situation you can recall and use in real life. It's a difference between having a word stuck in your mental dictionary and having it ready on the tip of your tongue when you need it. And even better, you can personalize a context in this method. Do you love to doodle? Do you think you're a visual learner? Then you can put that to use, for instance. When you come across a new word like parapluie for umbrella, don't just write parapluie equals umbrella and move on. Instead, craft a sentence. J'ai besoin d'un parapluie parce qu'il pleut. I need an umbrella because it's raining. Then, unleash your drawing creativity. Sketch a quick doodle next to it. We're not aiming for a masterpiece here, trust me. Even a simple stick figure huddled under an umbrella will do. This visual cue creates another memory pathway, making the word stick in your mind like glue. If you're more analytical, you can try out word webs, for instance. Put your new word like parapluie in the center of a page. Now let your mind wander and connect related words. You might branch out with la pluie for rain, mouillé for wet, un orage for storm, and just like that, you have built a whole network of weather-related vocabulary, and it's all interconnected in your mind. Experiment and find what works best for you. You can easily mix and match. Maybe you will draw a doodle for nouns or add word webs around verbs. Maybe you need to pronounce out loud or mime this word just after writing them down. Experiment and find what works best for you, but don't stop there. Immerse yourself in the language through simple French text. Start with children's books and easy news articles. As you read, highlight this new vocabulary. This not only expands your word bank, but also improves your grammar and comprehension skills. You're no longer learning isolated words. You're seeing how they sing together in sentences and paragraphs. Remember, the goal here isn't to find the perfect method. It's about discovering a combination of techniques that keep you engaged and excited about learning. Maybe one day you will feel like drawing. Another day you might prefer word webs. The key is consistency and enjoyment. By approaching vocabulary learning this way, you're not just memorizing words, you're building a living, breathing French vocabulary that is ready to use in real-world situations. So go ahead and get creative. Our third step is the spaced repetition technique. This isn't just another study method, it's how you actually learn. It's a scientifically proven approach that can supercharge your memory. Your brain can't remember all your French vocabulary learning from one massive session. That's too much. Instead, you need spaced out exercise. Here is how it works. Instead of reviewing each word every day, you increase the intervals between each review of that word. It's like playing hide and seek with your brain, but in this game, everyone wins. Let me break it down for you with a simple schedule. First review 1 day after learning. Second review 3 days later. Third review 1 week later. Fourth review 2 weeks later. Let's put this into practice with a real example. Say that you've learned the word chouette. It's French for owl, but also everyday slang for cool or great. On Monday, you learned the word and its meaning. Good. Following our schedule, you would review it on Tuesday, 1 day later. Then on Friday, 3 days later. Then the following Friday, 1 week later. And finally, 2 weeks after that. That's where flashcards come in handy. When you fail to remember a word, you can place it at the beginning of the binder in a daily section. If you remember that word, you can move it to the weekly session, etc. Each time you successfully recall chouette, you're not just remembering a word, you're strengthening the neural pathway in your brain associated with that word. Your brain gets stronger and stronger. You're building an easy path for that information, making it easier and faster to access each time. By the end of this process, Chouette isn't just a word that you have memorized. It is a part of your active French vocabulary, ready to use in conversation. There is something deeply satisfying about physical flashcards, about having a stack of colorful index cards like pieces of your French journey. But of course, there is also an app for that, several even. The best ones will even take care of your schedule for you. I recommend Anki or Anki Web, especially for Android phones. The simple algorithm adapts to your learning speed. If you breathe through Chouette every time, Anki will show it to you less frequently. If you're struggling with parapluie, Anki will make sure you see it more often until it sticks. Careful though, there is also something called Anki app, but it's unrelated to that project. They just took the name. For Apple users, the app is Moshi. It works really well as well. Whether you choose physical flashcards or a digital solution, the key is consistency. Set aside a little time each day for your review, maybe with your morning coffee. It doesn't have to be long, even 10 to 15 minutes can make a huge difference. The beauty of spaced repetition is that it works with your brain's natural learning processes, making your study time incredibly efficient. Learning French is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and spaced repetition will keep you on track while learning with an effective method. Very soon you will be peppering your conversations with "Ooh, c'est chouette," like a true French speaker. Step 4 is the fun one. Using Mnemonics and Associations means basically playing in your mind's playground. Think of them as mental shortcuts or memory tricks, secret codes to remember things quickly. The best part? The sillier and more personal these tricks are, the better they work. Let's start with a graceful example. Papillon, the French word for butterfly. You could decide to store it in your mind with a close pronunciation, like papillon. So you're going to imagine a pretty butterfly boldly flying across the little yawning mouth of a cute puppy. Really take a minute to envision this papillon with a butterfly. What do they look like? What sounds does it make? It's a cute, memorable image that will come up every time you think about a butterfly in French. Butterfly, papillon. Ah oui, papillon. Here are a few more examples to get your creative juices flowing. Ananas is pineapple in French. Imagine Anna Kendrick or any Anna that you know with a pineapple for a nose. Anna's nose is a pineapple. Anna's nose, ananas. Ananas is pineapple. Poubelle for trash can. Visualize Winnie the Pooh with a big bell around his neck, ringing it as he collects trash. Poubelle, poubelle, poubelle becomes poubelle in French for trash can, poubelle. The beauty of this technique is that it's entirely personal. Your mental images don't need to make sense to anyone but you. The more they resonate with your experiences, your interests, your sense of humor, the more effective they will be. You can try to make them extravagant, action-packed, use wordplay, or create a story. Remember, the goal isn't to create a perfect system, but to have fun while making those French words unforgettable. Don't be afraid to be silly or outrageous. Your brain loves novelty. So here is a fun exercise. Take a few minutes to come up with mnemonics or associations for these words. I give you 5 seconds to pause the video and think about it. Your turn now. Le chapeau for the hat. La chaussure for the shoe. Accueillir for to welcome. Don't worry about being right. The only rule is that it should make sense to you. Maybe chapeau reminds you of a chapel where everyone wears hats. Maybe chaussure sounds like choose your shoe to you. Chaussure. Accueillir has the tricky sound œil, so maybe it would root you around it. You might decide to think of it as a quill here. So you can envision being welcomed in a fancy mansion and having to sign a guest book with a quill pen. The butler warmly tells you, welcome, a quill here. And that's how you find the word accueillir next time you need this verb in French. A quill here, accueillir, accueillir. As you practice this technique, you'll find that creating these mental images becomes quicker and more natural. Soon you'll find yourself automatically making these connections as you learn new words. So next time you write down a new French word, let your imagination run wild and create a mental picture so vivid, so absurd that you couldn't forget it if you tried. You will have a mental gallery full of unique personalized mnemonics, making your French vocabulary as colorful and as forgettable as a Monet painting. Félicitations, you've made it to our final step for this video. Now it's time for the best part, putting all of that beautiful French vocabulary in action. Remember, a word isn't truly yours until you have used it in the wild. So let's dive into exciting ways to make these words come alive. First, conversation. Obviously, it might sound scary, but that's the best way to speak French. You can find a language exchange partner, join a French club, or join a special program like my own French Conversation Club, for instance, where you will find great teachers and a fantastic community of fellow students. You will find a link in the video description right below if you're interested. The key here is to use your new words without fear. Made a mistake? Fantastic. That's how we learn. Remember, native speakers are not looking for perfection. They're thrilled that you're making an effort to speak their language. Here is a challenge for you. Try to use at least 3 new words in each conversation. For example, if you've just learned pamplemousse, grapefruit, se réveiller, wake up, and d'habitude for usually, you might say d'habitude, je me réveille et je mange un pamplemousse pour le petit déjeuner. Usually I wake up and eat a grapefruit for breakfast. Voila! 3 new words in one natural sentence. Next, let's talk about writing. Keeping a French diary is like having a private conversation with yourself, free from judgment. Start small, maybe just 1 sentence or 2 about your day. As you grow more confident, challenge yourself to write a short paragraph. Describe what you ate, an interesting person that you saw today, or your plans for the weekend. The act of forming sentences and connecting ideas will cement those words in your long-term memory. For the creative souls out there, why not try your hand at French poetry or short stories? Don't worry about literary perfection. The goal is to play with the language. You could write a haiku about your morning coffee or a silly story about your pet learning to speak French. The more you enjoy the process, the more those words will stick. Remember, the goal of these activities is to transform those French words from mere entries in your notebooks into living, breathing parts of your everyday communication. Each time you use a word in context, you're not just remembering it, you're understanding it, feeling it, making it a part of your French-speaking identity. Speak, write, create, play, do whatever it takes to make these words your own. Embrace the mistakes, celebrate your success, enjoy the journey, and soon you will find yourself speaking French with confidence. Before we wrap up, let's quickly go over some bonus tips and a quick recap to supercharge your vocabulary learning. 1. Understand how your brain works. Writing things down and using spaced repetition is much better than cramming vocabulary from a long list on a website. Even better when you're linking the words to multiple senses, emotions, and story. Make your own personal system. Maybe you like to draw doodles for each word or use word webs. Maybe you would like to record yourself speaking the words so that you can remember them better. 3. Let's bring French into every corner of your life. Label objects around your house with their French names. Change your phone's language settings to French. Follow French social media accounts or YouTube channels. Use a new French word in the comments for this video. Why not? Each of these small actions creates another opportunity to engage with your new vocabulary. 4. Get extra lessons and insights by subscribing to my newsletter. I will send you weekly French discussion and cultural issues in French or vocabulary from your everyday life. It's my most important tip for you today. It's free and you can start right now. Just click on the link below the video in the description and thank me in a week or two. Remember, learning a language is a journey, not a race. Be patient with yourself, celebrate small victories, and most importantly, have fun with it. Allez, à plus, I will see you in the next video.